Hey, eighth graders, good morning and happy Tuesday. Before we get started with the example video today, I wanted to kind of go over the week and the expectations that we have for you. So yesterday and today we'll be posting videos for you to watch and complete as far as looking at author's craft moves in a digital text. So yesterday, Ms. Tresick posted an example with Eddie the Eagle. Mr. Dickinson today is going to be posting one, and then I will as well. You're watching it right now. And we'll be going over Jerry's Game today. It is a digital short that I found on YouTube, and I think it's a good example. So that's kind of the expectation for Monday and Tuesday of this week. Wednesday, so tomorrow, we will have Gimkit available, 3 different opportunities. So we worked together to try and figure out how to have like a day-long Gimkit that everybody could just join when they wanted to. And unfortunately, we didn't have the setup done to do that before the break because you have to be like in a class. There can only be so many kids. And so that was kind of tough to do. So we're going to offer 3 different times, 9 a.m., 11 a.m., and 1 p.m. And then we're going to put the codes in the extended break. So in this document right here, this is where we're going to put the codes. And so it'll just be updated at 9, 11, and 1. It'll go for a full hour. And so you can join when you can. Like I said, it'll be 9 to 10, and then 11 to 12, and 1 to 2. And then Thursday, we're going to offer another Zoom. So yes, last week's went really well. We were super excited to see everybody's faces. And so we're going to do another Zoom, 9 a.m. for Advanced Language Arts and 10 a.m. for Language Arts 8. So it's the same as last week. Codes will be posted in Google Classroom, and we'll also post them on the daily updates document that you've been working through. And then last thing is Friday will just be kind of a catch-up day, and that you'll post your Flipgrid. So you'll have no major assignments Wednesday through Friday of this week. So as long as you have your video instruction, your independent work for one of the videos done, this week is kind of a lot of fun stuff that we get to do, and then you get to finish with your Flipgrid. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I thought I had Jerry's Game pulled up. Maybe I don't, so I will do that really quick. Oh, I had it right here, I think is where it was. There we go. So I'm going to recommend that you watch Jerry's Game on your own before this video. So because Ms. Tresick said that the audio quality of her video as far as listening to the short didn't go well. So watch Jerry's video. I've already linked that for you in the document. You can see it. It's right here. Watch that and then watch the example video. So if you are watching this one first, pause this one, go click on this link right here, and then come back to this video. So one of the reason that I picked this one is because I think it has some really cool like personality and character development. It also has some cool camera angles and forced perspective. And so the exposition becomes extremely important. And I'll get into that here very shortly, right after we begin watching. I love this. Sean, I don't know if you remember this, but one day at lunch, Sean showed us a really funny version of this when someone tried to recreate the Pixar lamp, and we all laughed and laughed. So right away, it zoomed in, and we notice that it is a chessboard, right? Or at least a checkers board. So I've watched the video before, so I know it's chess. But the first time that I watched this, in my notes, I jotted down that I said, is he playing chess? Is he playing checkers? So immediately it's getting you thinking. It's jumping right into some action. Like there's no character at all. And then you can kind of see as it's paused that we're starting to see the chess pieces. So we know that it is chess and not checkers. And so we are now introduced to who I can only assume is Jerry. And he's an old gentleman, and the music in the background I noticed kind of the second time that I watched it, I want to say I didn't notice it the first time, but it just reminds me of like a French bistro. Like maybe he's in Paris. We don't truly know the setting of this. We never find out. We just know that it's a park somewhere. And obviously, if we look back, the leaves we can see are starting to change colors. And so we know that this is fall. And so just in this one still image, we see our character. We know that there's going to be some kind of action involving this chess game, and that we by the music it might be in France, or at least that it has some sort of Parisian feel. And this is 53 seconds into a 5-minute video, and we already know all of these things. And so this is where exposition becomes so important, is that it's really setting up the piece. And so I'm wondering, the first time through it, I'm wondering, are there any other characters we're going to be introduced to? Chess is obviously a 2-person game. And so is there another person that we're going to be meeting? Is he going to be waiting for them? Who's this going to be? And so we'll keep watching. And now we start to realize that Jerry is not waiting for anybody else, that he is playing the game himself. And if we look at just this camera shot, so this is one thing that's really cool that we don't get to see with like regular text or when we're reading, is this visual. And yes, we have imagery and we have those different things to help us visualize, but this is incredible. If we just look at this still, it's almost like it's framed perfectly. If you see, there's 2 trees or a couple trees on either side, and then it almost kind of like narrows in to this very center shot of Jerry. And so like the background's really framing him. And so as far as just like camera angles and choices in that way, it was really intentional, I would assume, that it's framing him and this table. Another thing that we've already, or that we've now become privy to, is that Jerry is kind of dual personality in this video. So there's one where he is this kind of sweet old man, and he wears his glasses and he takes his time and he's really thoughtful. And then he gets up, slowly walks over to the other chair, and he becomes a completely different person, right? He even he moves really quickly. He's kind of cocky. He kind of arrogant, and right? He's really excited about his move. And then we see him get up and he's going back to the side with like the cream colored chess pieces, and he's going to put his glasses back on. He's going to be very deliberate and thoughtful, right? And kind of sweet. So now he gets back up. Okay, and so now we'll notice that we're not getting that where he gets up and walks back, gets up, walks back, because we don't have to. Because within the exposition, like I said, within the first 2 minutes of this short film, they've established that that's what's going to happen. So now they can really start to play with like the back and forth. And if you'll notice, it isn't smooth transitions. They're very quick and choppy. And so this becomes like almost like a split screen of personalities. Like there's the one side where Jerry's really sweet, and then it quickly switches over to this version of Jerry that is arrogant and excited and really aggressive in his play. And so the cool thing about the exposition in this, and this is what I jotted down in my notes quite a bit, is that we have to have the exposition to really truly get the humor. It sets us up. So if we didn't have that, we'd be confused and be like, oh, is it 2 twins playing a game together, 2 old men who were twins and they've grown old together? But no, we know that it's just this one guy. And so that's why exposition in this film is so important. And we'll keep watching here. And now it kind of creates this sense of dialogue. Obviously, if we waited and we had to watch this in real time, where Jerry was getting up and walking back and forth, we wouldn't get this basically like forced perspective dialogue where like he's thinking and and then the other Jerry's laughing at him, right? It's almost like they're having a conversation, and this comes into play a little bit later, where it's almost like you think that there's two people at the table eventually because of how they've set things up. But again, it's almost like they're having a little dialogue. But if you were to completely pull out and have the camera be that first angle that we saw, you wouldn't get this humor. One might even say he's a little ruthless here. Right? And so this would have taken so long. If you think about each camera angle is when Jerry gets up and switches places. That's my laundry. Every time that Jerry gets up and switches places, like that takes what, like maybe 15 seconds. And so he's doing this like really quick back and forth. Again, that in real time would not have been entertaining. And so now obviously we're seeing that he was a little bit sneakier. So we're seeing some interesting character development with our kind of first Jerry, where he was a little devious and he switched the board. And he doesn't realize it yet. Right, and now he seems really sweet and innocent. I want to pause here because now all of a sudden there's all these leaves on the ground, and I don't know if I remember seeing that in the beginning, and I kind of want to go back and look. Let's see. Okay, so there's some leaves on the table right there. Let's see. Are there leaves on the ground? I can't seem to remember. And so this is kind of this idea of like going back and rereading. You can go back and rewatch digital text. You can go back and watch specific moments. Oh, there are leaves on the ground. I was thinking maybe there weren't. It was kind of signifying this idea that the game is over. Right? And so, right, we're kind of right back where we started. And now the Jerrys are shocked. And he's given in. And he's given in to our first Jerry with the glasses. And now all of a sudden we realize what they were playing for, which was dentures. And now, right, the camera is zooming back out and we can see the whole picture. No one else is in the park. Right? And so this is what's kind of cool is that oftentimes when you think about camera angles, you think about live action. And so what people are doing when there's like real life actors, whereas this digital short, Jerry's Game, uses that to their advantage, but it is an animated version. And so that was really my big focus as I was watching. And there were so many other things that we could talk about. And, we could talk about what is chess symbolic of? What are the little, like the knights and the kings and the queens and the pawns, right? The first movement is a pawn, like they're kind of pawns in a game, and so there's other things that you could think about. So in your journal today, if you want to rewatch this video, you could focus on some other things that weren't dialogue, that wasn't the exposition and the camera angles, and kind of the things that I focused on. But that's really all I have for you today. The video did a really great job of showing how you can play with camera angles and how there can be very little dialogue. But just with the framing, you can set up things that we clue in as watchers to the fact that it was fall, the fact that it might be somewhere in Paris based on the music, right? And then it's just this empty park, and we don't really know. And so that's all I have for you today. Just a reminder here, we have all of your upcoming dates for this week. Just a reminder, your focus for this is to complete at least one session of independent work from yesterday or today. But you do have 3 examples, and then your instructions are listed here, as well as on the daily updates on the website. So it was really great chatting with you all today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and hopefully we'll see you for GimKit and Zoom later this week.